Welcome, everybody. Sorry.
It was
That
bound
was
to
a
happen
bad game.
eventually.
It was. The Timberwolves lose their third game of 11. Timberwolves fall to 8-3, losing a lot to a little to the Phoenix Suns on the night of a back-to-back of one of the most emotional games in regular season history. But still, pretty not fun thing to watch. And yeah, how are you feeling, Sabrina? And welcome, Sabrina. Welcome back.
Um, like I said, it was bound to happen eventually, but we
Yeah.
we take it in stride and move on. This team talks about being mature. The mature thing is to forget this and focus on Saturday.
Yeah, I think that's kind of, what I was talking a little bit in Discord about over the last couple days, by the way, shout out to Discord. We uh we really it's the season is going to be sculpted, or however you want to say it, like on how you respond to adversity, because we have skill. We've got a good defensive team. You're gonna lose games. And you're gonna lose bad games. It's not like the good Warriors teams didn't lose games like this. It's not like, Denver hasn't lost games like this last year, but it's how you come out the next game or how you respond the next week or something like that. You have runs. So it'll be that, but obviously some other things that are concerning that happened tonight. Ant had another bad game. Um, Nas kind of redeemed himself a little bit in the end there, but that was kind of garbage time. Um, Kyle didn't have a great game. Rudy didn't have a great game, but that's less of a trend and more of just like a random night. But there's definitely some valid concerns tonight, but I think overall, this is just kind of I don't want to say a throwaway game because, you can't just chalk this up to, oh, it was a back-to-back, because every team has back-to-backs. But yeah, I don't know. Are you super concerned about anything after tonight, or is it just kind of a bad schedule loss or scheduled loss and just an off day?
I think when you have a series like you did, where you had the baseball series with 2 Golden States in a row, and then immediately after that second one, you go directly into Phoenix, who, granted, I don't think they can sustain the level of productivity they had tonight. They are a pretty scary team, as clearly Kevin Durant and Devin Booker, and that was without Bradley Beal.
Yeah.
So. Their bench absolutely killed us. Who knew Josh Okogie could hit 3-point shots?
He can when he plays the Timberwolves.
Apparently. Ultimately, I'm not mad. I'm a little concerned because this is 2 games in a row where Ant hasn't been able to get anything going. But again, it's a 82 game season. There's going to be runs. There's going to be a couple of we could have had those, but I think ultimately the team is gassed. John Krasinski said that they didn't even get to their hotel until like 3:30 this morning. So
yeah, see, that is crazy, and I think that's something that's overlooked by a lot of people, and myself included, is that like the travel involved. Like, I recently went home to Minnesota just to visit family, and it's like, man, when you're taking like red-eye flights and things like that, it just ruins you. Like your whole day is different. You're falling asleep at random times during the day. So I do get it. And obviously a back-to-back road trip is like not fun.
yeah.
Another thing also, we just came off like some serious highs the other week when we played like Boston. Like that was like an emotional game in a good way. Like we were like, that was crazy. And then we had the Pelicans game that was good. We fought through the San Antonio game. So we've got a lot of emotions that have happened over the last couple of weeks. It's okay to have this loss, but it's, Gerald in the Discord was talking a lot about how like, there's a lot of alarming things that are happening in the game tonight that have been trends at times. But, again, this is kind of talking in circles by me, but like, we're just going to have to see what happens going forward. How do you respond to these things? Maybe Ant being the most concerning right now, just because when he's bad, it looks like it's unfixably bad. But then he comes back and he does like he'll come back and have like a 35-point game where I'm back on like, yeah, Ant's MVP, So
When your star players are -29, -25, and -14 for the night, it doesn't trend very well. With Gerald said in the chat that I'm sad that they didn't even have the pride and tried to keep their D identity even if they were tired. I feel like we did defend. It just wasn't at the elite level that we were used to. Again, playing very physical basketball clearly last night. And then having to come around and you're dealing with one of the top 10 guards in the league, and then you're dealing with Kevin Durant, which, I mean, it's Kevin Durant.
Yeah, it almost like there was a couple things that went against us. One, we're playing Kevin Durant and Devin Booker, who are always going to cook us, and they're going to cook anybody. But on top of that, you can't have both of them cook you, and then also have Josh Okogie make like 17 threes. Eubanks start making threes, and just like all these like bounces going their way. That can't happen. But
who was that guy that came off the bench?
Was it at the end of the game or
Jordan Goodwin?
Oh, Goodwin, yeah.
He played 16 minutes, and he only had 3 points, but he shot it from behind the arc and hit, and it was a second chance bucket. Which we've got to figure out. We've got to figure out the rebounding, and we have got to figure out the fouls and the turnovers. We are averaging, I think it's 19 or 16, one of the two. It's 16 turnovers a game, almost 17, and then it's 19 fouls, like 19 personal fouls a game.
Yeah, it's bad. And Jaden's at the front of a lot of that. Kat has been a little bit of the front. Kat's been a lot better recently. But Jaden is another one that's concerning. We'll get I'll get into specifics once we get to the tier list. But yeah, no, Jaden's concerning.
He's back on year 1 and 2 with his trend for fouling, and as much as I love Jaden, I am all for giving Nas minutes at the 3 or Kyle minutes at the 3 if it means that we can keep Jaden on the floor longer.
It might have to happen. And there's just the things that are bothering me about Jaden's fouls is that a lot of the time, it's not even that I do think Jaden always gets a bad whistle. There's no surprise there. But like tonight, there was a play where he was just like, he just shoves, even if it's just a little bit, he shoves Devin Booker out of bounds as he's making a layup. Like, can we just play actual defense and not resort to like actually physically doing these things, especially when they're mid shot? Like, I don't know. That drove me crazy.
The other thing is, I think that if something is a foul on our end of the ball, it needs to be a foul on the other end of the ball. For example, the shove-offs offensively, where the offensive player pushes the person and like physically moves them like 6 feet back. That's an offensive foul. That is a clear offensive foul, and it happened multiple times tonight from Booker, from Katie, from what's his name, Watanabe, which.
Oh yeah, Watanabe, I think. Yeah, I could be very wrong on that.
The only thing I remember about him is he basically got a face full of ants. So.
Yep, that's the only thing that we need to remember. Oh man, well, we'll catch up on some comments and then we'll get into the tier list. Let's see, going through to Chuck. Welcome back. That was the blueprint strategy wise to beat the Wolves. Didn't have anything with scheduling. Yeah, I mean that's true. I mean they were. But also, there was just a lot of chance things that happened, like the weird bounces, Okogie making threes. Okogie making threes really, like we were still in the game when Okogie was making those threes, but then he just kept hitting them, and it was like, okay, now we're down by 14 instead of like 8, and it's like, man, that's just enough to hurt and not let us get back in.
Phoenix shot uncharacteristic. They shot 51 of 85 from 2, so they shot 60%.
Yeah, that's the thing that's so crazy about this game, and why I think you and I aren't like super mad about this is that like Minnesota came in as like a top 5 defense, or maybe even the top defense, in certain respects coming into this game, and then they give up 60% on like that's just an outlier game. Like that's an outlier, unless the next game the same thing happens.
Yeah.
So
If we play like this in New Orleans on Saturday night, I will be concerned.
oh
I
yeah.
will not be as concerned as if it's a 3 game in a row thing. If we play like we did tonight after
Mhm.
some rest and against the Pelicans, who if they have Zion, that's a whole different monster that we have to attack. But
Yeah.
if
Yep.
it's Zion's out and it's just BI and Herb Jones if he's feeling healthy again.
Yeah, I didn't realize when I went to the game, I didn't realize he was hurt as well. Like their whole team is just hurt. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Um,
That's why Matt Ryan's getting starter minutes.
yeah, that's true. Yeah. And he's going nuts with those minutes. Gerald, the team takes on the personality of its leader. Oh gosh. And
Oh, here we go.
and we for sure been playing like cat for the last 4 games. We are lucky we won 2 of them. I don't know if I totally am on board with that take, but I see what you're saying again. And obviously that is concerning. We have been giving a lot more, we've been giving the keys to Towns to kind of run the offense a lot recently, which is
Because
kind of
Ant is flat.
he has been flat, but I think that happened before Ant was like really flat. Like we kind of gave it was kind of like there's an overlap there of where Ant was still like okay, and then Cat just kind of started taking over. However, Cat has played really, really well and kept us in games, but there's always the argument of like, well, him keeping us in games could just be because he's the only one getting the ball. But like, I don't know. I think Cat's been playing okay recently. So I don't know.
When I think it was when the first quarter ended and we had something like 20 or 24 or something points. Cat had 14 of them or 12 of them. And then he ended the first half with 14 points.
Yeah.
Part of that was he got put on the bench, but at the same time, if he's the one that's hot at night and he's not getting fouls, which he finished with 3 personal fouls.
That's not
So I
bad.
mean, he didn't it's not Cat numbers for fouls. He usually walks
Yeah.
the line with 5 or 6 and
Yeah.
fouls out, but
Yep.
he only played 31 minutes. Rudy only played 24 minutes and he had 2 fouls. Like,
Yeah.
why were the bigs sitting so much? I mean, I understand it's the back-to-back and
Yeah. I don't know. There's a lot of things I wish we could like sit down with Finch and just ask him a million questions because I want to know the reasoning behind so many different decisions, like his timeout strategies and like another thing. This is the Gerald show apparently, but Gerald was saying this like kind of a hypothesis in the Discord of like Finch is more of a long-term planner rather than a short-term like reactor. So like when things happen in the short term, he just he doesn't do anything to change it. It's like, is that true? Is that not? And of course, like asking Finch, she's not going to say that. But like, but yeah, and then the minute situation, the rotation situation tonight, it's like, okay, what was the reasoning behind it, and lots of different things. But
with with uh with with Nas being iffy going into the third quarter, why didn't like you went to Luka at the end of the game when it was basically over? Luka helped us
mhm,
win games in the middle of the
yeah,
season when we had injuries. So to your point, I would like to ask Finch like if he's a spark plug, why not put him in? He's eligible to play, 55 games and you basically just wasted a game playing him 4 minutes and 32 seconds in garbage time.
see, exactly. That's a great point because this is the same as last year. There would be times where we'd put him in for like 2 minutes. I think it was the same thing with like Nate Knight, or I can't remember. There was somebody else that the same situation was happening, and it was like I like sure 55 games is a lot, especially when you don't probably plan on playing them a ton. But like, is 4 minutes worth a game off of those 55? That seems kind of crazy to me. So I don't know. But Jared, welcome back to the stream. I don't know why we sat Nas so much. To be honest, Nas was not great in the beginning of the game. It wasn't as bad as the last game where he was just very like emotionally charged after everything that had kind of gone down. But it wasn't good. And Polite Demons, welcome to the stream. Anyone else hear the one guy yelling annoying stuff in the crowd? Like, yes, I heard that. He was like talking to players, he was talking to everybody, and he was into the game the whole time.
There was
He really
7
was.
minutes left in the fourth quarter, and we had gone on that, like, I don't know, 11 to like 1 or 2 run or whatever. And he said, or somebody hit a 3, I forget who it was, and he goes, "Well, that's the game. Might as well go home now." And I'm just like, "Oh, okay, you're either are way too intoxicated or way too
They're intoxicated.
yeah, pretty much."
Yeah, I think that's the answer. Cool. Well, I think we're gonna jump into the tier list. See if I can do this correctly. There we go. Oh wait, this is there. I did it so that it doesn't cover people's faces as much. Whenever we do this and put the comments on the screen, it always covers Ashwin's face. So all right, tier list for those of you that are new. I think everybody tonight, anybody here tonight is like a diehard. So I appreciate you being here because this is a wild night. So I appreciate you being here. You know what's the story? A1 unforgettable. Nobody's A1 tonight. Wancho, most of the team tonight. C is what we expect. CB is what we expect out of a player. And then Glenn Taylor is consistently Wancho. So yeah. We'll jump right in. Let's see. Let me pull it up. Actually, I did everything kind of, but okay. We're gonna start. Maybe we should do Shake. We could probably start with Shake. I guess there's some players that we probably should that I don't necessarily want to talk too much or grade, but like I feel like they played enough that we have to. Like Shake. Shake was 4 of 8 from the field. He had 8 points tonight. That's kind of the most of it. He'd look better, I say, than some of the other ones, but I still think he's concerning. On a season-wide level, he is greatly disappointing my expectations. On a nightly level, this is probably, and now at this point in the season, after I've seen a couple games of him, this is, I guess, kind of what I expect. Maybe better than I expect. I mean, 8 points is kind of nice, but like, I don't know. I think I'm somewhere around a C for Shake.
For our backup point guard, playing 22 minutes and going 0 of 2 from 3 and only 4 of 8 total for 8 points and a positive 6. I mean, yeah, I'll agree he's a C. Personally, because I was a fan of him in Philadelphia and I know what he can do, it's a D-low for me just because. But he has to find his chemistry with the Wolves. Everybody goes through little shooting slumps. I know Finch has the highest regard for him, and I know Tim Connolly was super excited that he agreed to come here in free agency. So knowing what I know, that aspect of it, I have to have a little faith. I mean, as you said, it's 11 games into the season. I would say C for now. If he continues on this trend, though, and somebody like Troy Brown Jr. or Josh Minot starts to play a little better, or mean, convert Leonard, or what is Leonard Miller actually on an NBA contract? Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
So pull him from the G League because he's destroying motherfuckers down there. So
yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, that's also like Shake's minutes will become expendable if he continues to play like this. Like we have other players. That's kind of the beauty of the team. You know, every time me and Ashwin start to talk about how deep our team is, they suddenly start not being so deep. But like that's the beauty of it is that we have these players. Like, I mean, Luka's not going to fill into the Shake spot, but like we have players that deserve minutes and should get more. Like Na's been playing really great lately. He'll start getting some more minutes. Yeah, Na only had 22 minutes tonight, and we could have had 10 extra Na minutes instead of 10 Shake minutes. You know, there's decisions like that that Finch is going to have to make. But anyways, Troy Brown barely played, and they weren't. Well, they got 4 points. They were 0 of 3, so all of their points came at the free throw line. Yes, I didn't realize that. Wow. He was playing some good defense on KD for a little while. So I mean, again, this is kind of too little to grade off of. So I think I'm probably still in like a.
He had a steal. He had an assist. He defensively rebounded the ball. He had 4 of them. He's Personally, I don't think this is enough to really judge him on.
Yeah.
I expected him to come in and be a viable option for replacing Torian Prince in the rotation. I do understand that that's like Kyle's role technically, but Troy, he has career shot better than Torian had. And I
Yeah.
was expecting him to come in and do the same here. Again,
Yeah.
it's kind of like with Shake. You're supposed to be,
Yeah.
and
I
you're
was
not
excited about.
performing. I kind of am starting to feel about Troy how I did about Bryn Forbes before he got let go. Is you're expected to be a
Ooh.
3-point shot. You're coming here, and I don't think you've hit one, maybe one or two.
Vegas, the Drury versus Troy 3-point race is on. Yeah, that's pretty wild. Troy, yeah, I guess it's kind of hard to grade him. Maybe we won't grade him tonight. It'll be unfair because it's just had nothing. But yes, I mean, if you come into the game as a 3-point shooter, I expect you. And if you take 3 shots, I'm hoping that you make one of those. So
Yeah.
um, that's concerning. But next up, let's do probably Wait, no, Kyle Anderson. Let's do Kyle Anderson.
Okay.
Kyle, 2 of 5, 6 points. He was a negative 13 tonight. Did have 2 steals. I'm losing a little bit of my Kyle excitement as well. And not just because of tonight. This has been another trend for the past couple games. Is like, he was kind of our zone buster. He was the kind of guy that just had these like buckets that would kind of kill teams because he's like it looks so stupid and you're like never expecting it to work. But he's just not been good.
This is the fourth game in a row where Kyle has performed less than average. In my opinion, he also did not attempt a 3-point shot, which,
Hmm.
as little as he did last year, he kind of made them at a
And
heightened
it's
rate. And I would
oh yeah,
I would appreciate if he'd at least take one, but it seems like he's scared to shoot from behind the arc.
it
Um,
does.
he also did tone down the turnovers this game, so I did appreciate that. We only, as a team, had 6 turnovers from like charged to specific players. So I mean, that's better than the Golden State game for sure.
Yeah,
But
Golden State had to be a lot. Yeah. I
I
guess I'm
would
feeling Wancho.
I
I
would
don't
agree
know.
with Aston in chat. He deserves a wancho because this is
Oh
the
yeah.
third game in the row.
It is. It is the third game in a row. And honestly, maybe even entering Glenn Taylor tier. I don't think he's a Glenn Taylor player, but if these kind of games keep continuing, it could happen. I'm not ruling it out.
Absolutely,
But
Aston. I will still keep Kyle Anderson over any of the free agents that are currently available.
true. I don't even know who is available, and I don't know if I,
There's
I
not a
would
lot
doubt.
worth picking.
I doubt there is. That's what Phoenix did. Phoenix picked up all those random players to fill in their super roster. Um. Anyways, on to Nah. 22 minutes. He was 3 of 6 from the field. Hit 2 threes tonight. Had 8 points. Only 1 foul and a block. Uh, this is maybe a C. I mean, I feel good about Nah recently. He's been looking a lot better. He's been looking like the playoff Nah. Beginning of the season, we were extremely nervous because it was like, what the heck? Not that we paid him that much, but like, we signed him to a contract thinking he was going to be kind of a big part of this year for us as like a 6th man or 7th man off the bench or something like that. It's like, and instead he was not good. And now he's serviceable and he's doing well. He's hitting, I mean, he's even hitting shots. Like he's hitting threes at times that we need. So
He hit 2 of 5 threes tonight, which is about the clip that he hit them at in the Denver series. His defense is not available on the stat sheet that I have currently in front of me, but he did do some pretty decent defense today. Um,
yeah,
yes, Aston is correct. He needed to close out the perimeter rotations. The entire team needs to work on guarding the perimeter, and we
oh yeah.
have to figure out what to do with Rudy if we get put with the drop again. But
Which is infuriating because like how can we not be good perimeter defenders when we have Rudy in the paint? Like that's all they need to do.
yeah,
I just don't get it.
but I would
Um,
I would agree he's either C or D. You could argue either way with me, and I'd be fine.
I think I'm gonna give him a C just because I have a bad feeling about the rest of the players that we're gonna go through. Most of them, anyways. So we're gonna try to have some. We're losing our positivity as we go down the list here. But we will. I think we're. Oh yeah, we'll do Nas. So Nas is up next, last of the bench players. 18 minutes, as I think I can't remember who mentioned it in chat. They were on the bench for a while. They were 4 of 7 shooting. They did hit a three. They went to the line a couple times. I think those were all late. Did have 13 points. This was not necessarily though a game. I think Jim Pete was talking about it in the broadcast. It was like, when you're hoping for this, like you're hoping for a ton of production from Nas in games like this, where like your starters can't get it, so you have Nas there to kind of back him up and like score a bunch, or create or do whatever. And he did that in garbage time, but when it was needed in the beginning of the game, that was just not. It was just not there. Um, and Nas has had another couple bad games here. Not that this was a terrible, terrible game, but like in general, over the last like 4 games, it has not been my favorite Nas stretch. But I think I'd
give him a C. I'm not willing to go any higher.
Yeah, I'm not going any higher than a C for sure. I think I'm kind of low on the C. I'm maybe even closer to D-Lo, but we can give him a C tonight because it was again one of the only real players that like did decent production, even though it was garbage time. I mean, it was kind of garbage time because we kind of got that lead down. I think the lead was down to like 18 or something at a point, kind of late. But anyways,
and then there was an uncontested 3-point shot, and it went back up to 21.
That is true. Yep, the problem of the night and the season a little bit. But now we're on to the starters. Let's start with maybe. Well, probably not the player of the night, but one of my favorite players of the night, in Mike Conley. Mike Conley, 5 of 8, had to be aggressive and take shots tonight. Hit a 3. Oh, he only had 1 3. I thought there was multiple. Either way, 14 points. He was a negative 16, but that's just kind of what happened with all the starters tonight. And when you lose by 20 points,
I need more assists.
He does need more assists. I don't know. We need more. Like, it definitely feels like we need more assists. I don't know if I felt the openness for open. Like, yeah. What did he end up with? He ended up with
3 assists.
Yeah, 3 assists.
And here, okay, so hear me out. The ball didn't move a ton. Like,
yeah.
Starting after the Atlanta game, the ball started to move a lot when it came to around the perimeter. And again, I understand a lot of us were gassed, but you still need to move the ball.
Yeah.
And there was too many times where it's 18 seconds, you're coming across the timeline, Cat or Ant has the ball, and or somebody else has the ball, and it's immediately passed to Cat or Ant, and then it's just quick, dagger, like 3-point shot. You're not even trying to find the open man. You're not even trying to drive to the basket. This team, granted, if the refs call things properly, if they drive to the basket, that's points.
Yeah, it should
especially against a team like Phoenix, who, aside from Josh Okogie and Kevin Durant, who plays defense.
Exactly. That's exactly what I was just about to say, is that it's not like we saw early in the game. Cat, for example, was driving past people, and Cat's not fast. He's lost a lot of the speed that he had once he was right into his rookie season or close to that. And he's blowing by people getting dunks. He's blowing by people getting layups. We have players like Ant and McDaniels that are very fast. And I get it, it's a back-to-back, but like we can do this. Like we can do it. Was working so well in the beginning of the game. It seemed like this was going to be a game where it was like 140 to 140 because every time for like the first like 7 possessions for each team, it felt like everybody scored. And then we just stopped doing that and started standing still. And then Mike Conley was just kind of running around in circles.
It became the return of the hero ball isolation.
Yeah.
You shot last time, I get to shoot this time. I'm not going to pass it to nobody because I want my touches.
Yep.
And that is the team that defeated itself last year.
Yep. Yeah. Well, on Conley, I think I my feeling coming out of the game was that he was probably a C. Certainly not any higher than that. I think he was okay, um, but yeah, I don't know. I think he was a C. Where is your final grade for him tonight?
He was average, but I expect more.
Mm.
So do with that as you will.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I guess we'll go C. I've kind of started turning the tier list into like B is average, but I liked you, and C is average, but I didn't like you. Like
I think that's
that's
okay.
yeah, it's kind of where I've fallen now. But yeah, cool. More starters. The one that I really don't want to talk about is Jaden, so we're gonna get Jaden out of the way. Jaden was apparently 6 of 10. I don't remember him taking 10 shots. But he had 13 points, 4 fouls, 2 steals, got to the line once for an and one. And he was contesting a lot of the shots early in the game. It wasn't like he wasn't, but it wasn't working well.
It wasn't. He rushed his 3-point shot selection when he did choose to shoot a 3. They seemed more rushed than they usually did. See, Jaden's my favorite player, and I feel like I come on here every time and shit on him because I expect so much more than he gives us.
Yeah.
But he did not perform to the standard that I think he and the Wolves hold him to. So for me, he gets a D.
I think it's yeah. I pre-streaming on YouTube and when we were streaming on Twitch, I've mentioned this before, but I was not a big Jaden fan. And everybody was. Everybody else loved him. And not the person, just the player. Because like I understood that he was more of a defensive player and that's fine, but like I just didn't believe in the offense ever coming to fruition. And I was like very much, this was back in the day when Ben Simmons wasn't viewed so poorly. I mean, this year has not been so bad, but I was like, let's trade McDaniels immediately while he has some value before he loses that value in like his second season, because I was under the impression that after his rookie season, teams would adjust to him and his defense would go away and he would have non-existent offense. Obviously that didn't happen. Like Jaden's been good for us, tremendous defensively. And he's been a contributor on offense, not to the level that we probably need, but he's been fine. But I'm having some thoughts creep back into my head about Jaden that I don't like having. And defense is great, but we need a little bit more offense, and I don't want it to be in garbage time.
I think, he just got paid, which makes it worse for me because like you just got ultimately the biggest deal and probably more money than a lot of us were comfortable with you getting. Granted, the Vassell deal set the tone for his, but yeah, he needs a contract year every year because he had the best year of his career last year.
Yeah, he does.
And this isn't relating to like the game tonight, but I did not have Jaden's fans and Jaden's girlfriend going at each other on Twitter on my bingo card.
Yeah, so Jaden's girlfriend, if you haven't followed them on Twitter, they have like they did go private and they have like limited their like replies to only people that they follow, because Jaden's girlfriend really goes after fans on Twitter and like really specifically picks out the ones that are like super nasty. Unfortunately, I mean, I get it. Like when you're somebody popular, like that's just what happens. I'm acting like I know what that is, but like, like celebrities will have lots of people going at them in their mentions and stuff like that. So I do feel bad for them, but like they amplify those voices a lot, and I feel bad for them because they just get a lot of them, and then it gets more and more, and it's kind of crazy. But yeah, so.
I did not have that on my bingo card for the 2023 season.
Yeah, that's a crazy beginning. But anyways, Jaden, did I put him up there? Yeah, D for tonight. So let's do Rudy. Rudy 2 of 5. Um, he was a negative 25 tonight. 4 points, 2 blocks,
One
and
steal,
that's crazy. It's crazy. Um,
2
man,
turnovers, 2 fouls, 8 rebounds.
kind of a gross night. I borderline want to go. I know people in the chat are saying D, but I almost want to go Wancho. This was really bad.
This was yikes.
Yeah. I don't know. I think I'm going Wancho tonight.
It has to be. You're playing at a defensive player of the year caliber and you come out with this.
It's
I
bad.
understand it's the second day of a back-to-back, and granted, your neck might be feeling some residual, even though you said you didn't.
Still getting blood back to his head. But and he did twist his ankle at the end of the last game, which I was sure he would be called out for this game because of.
I was
But it
pretty
must
sure
not have been that.
Conley was going to sit because of age.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, like that's crazy. But no, I think it's a Wancho tonight, and it's mainly based off of just my expectations because he has built up my expectations now to be a defensive player of the year. Not that this game is going to ruin those chances for him, but like for this game, I expected a lot better. And, I mean, typically he's getting somewhere in the realm of like 10 to 12 points, and he's getting like 12 to 14 rebounds so far this season. Yeah, we didn't get that. So, and we really didn't get that much defensive presence either. We talk about the times, like we talk about the block shots, but we also talk about how many shots he affects.
Yeah.
Tonight, that didn't really happen. And honestly, Booker just kept driving and driving and driving. And even over Gobert was just, it didn't even matter. He didn't care. He was just going to drive through.
The mid-range shot is one of Devin Booker's most lethal pieces of his offense. So, I mean, that's almost to be expected. Not necessarily over Gobert because he should be able to block some of those. But, I mean, Nurkic was pretty scared to go at Gobert. But, like, to your point about Devin Booker, Drew Eubanks was just over. He didn't care.
Yeah.
And Eubanks torched us when he was on Toronto because he was not scared of Gobert last year. So,
yeah,
I don't know. He's just, come on, Rudy. We've got 2 days off.
Get some rest.
Travel day, get some rest.
Yep.
Get back to being the person that we know you can be.
Recover from the memes, and we move. But okay. This is probably the player I don't want to talk about the most, but it's Anthony Edwards. Anthony Edwards, 4 of 16 tonight. He had 13 points. He was a team low, negative 29. No personal fouls, which is borderline a problem tonight, I think. And he did go 4 of 4 from the line. But, yeah, I guess 4 assists, 4 rebounds. So he had 13, 4, and 4 tonight, if you're thinking about it. Sabrina, is that an MVP level player?
No.
Yeah, exactly.
And he also did, I mean, he scored 20 plus or 19 plus yesterday.
Yep.
But he did not play like we expect him, and like Kendrick Perkins, who gave him his endorsement, expects him to. So, am I saying that he's a Wancho player?
I think he's a Wancho. I think he's definitely a Wancho. I see some people in the chat. Gerald saying Glenn Taylor.
He can't be Glenn Taylor because he has not been a Wancho yet.
He hasn't been a Wancho yet, and he hasn't been a Wancho many games. Like, he's like, you could argue 2 games, but it has not been that many games.
Kyle's there because it's been 3 in a row. Rudy's there because he's not playing like a DPOY. He was talked about as being probably top 4 finish in MVP voting this week, and he comes out and drops this on us. That is a Wancho performance.
That's a problem. And also, I did this for Kat before we started even doing any of these streams. Obviously, Kat's been in the league a long time. You guys have been able to hear me and Ashwin's thoughts and complaints about Kat, but that's because he's been in the league for so long. We started complaining kind of like year 5, year 6. But there is a little bit. Yeah, we're on year 4 of Ant. So we're getting to the point where criticism is going to start when things are
Mhm.
trending in the wrong way. Um, and we're kind of getting there. You know, I'm not fully at like hating Ant levels. And that's not. I'm not.
It's
I
never
don't
gonna
hate
get
Ant.
there.
Yeah, yeah. But like, and yeah, you're right. It's never gonna get there.
He's
But
too funny,
he's too funny. Yeah, he's too much of a character. It's
hence your
like
video.
he's just an enjoyable. Yes, thank you. Shout out the video. Um, Please, if you haven't already, at the end of the stream, go over see the 20 minutes of funny Anthony Edwards that'll improve your mood.
It has the Nikhil Alexander Walker soundbite.
Yes, the best, which I don't think I'll be able to find quickly enough. But actually, a very timely soundboard. I didn't add anything to the soundboard, but the there was a thing or like an Instagram story that Ant had when he was watching the Phoenix Suns in the playoffs, and they only had like 36 points at halftime or something like that. And then he goes,
Y'all, this is a disgrace, bro. Like, y'all, this is a disgrace, bro. Like,
yeah. So this
Oh,
was a disgrace for Anthony Edwards. So this is Wancho level. Not good.
oh
Poor
man.
preparation. Yeah. And then Noah, welcome back, Noah. Also welcome back, Tycoon. WTF was this game tonight? True. Noah says regarding Ant, he's not that amazing of a defender. True. I mean, he's a good defender, but he's not Jaden, he's not Rudy. But he can turn it on at times. He's absolutely locked down when it's strictly on ball one versus one. That is also very true because he gets lost when it's not that. He can't do zone. Besides that, he can't chase or fight through screens. Yeah, that's another concerning thing. These are the kind of conversations that we are going to start having now that Ant has been in the league long enough. You know, he has, dribbling is still an issue with. I think that's what you were talking about last stream, Noah, is that like he still doesn't have a great handle. So when he drives, it's kind of chaotic. It's kind of like, throwback to the Zach Levine days. Like Zach was a really exciting player, but like when he tried to drive to the basket, like dribbling was not easy for him. So, and that's sort of what it's like for Ant. Ant's got a better handle than Zach, um, but yeah, and then the screens, like that's been a problem. I don't know. Yeah. Well, next up, he's a bigger Donovan Mitchell. Yeah. I think about this all the time now that Rudy's on the team. I'm like, does Rudy think of this as like the same kind of thing, or how does he view Ant versus like Donovan Mitchell? Like, how does he view the difference? But I don't know. Anywho, last player of the night, I believe, right? I want to make sure. Yes, we're not going to do Garza. I mean, Garza, just for fun. No, we won't do Garza. Karl Anthony Towns. Obviously, probably the best player tonight. 10 of 17, 25 points, only 3 fouls, 7 rebounds, 2 assists, only 1 turnover, too. I think Towns is probably. I was kind of thinking B coming into the stream, but now that I'm thinking about it live, I'm almost thinking C because this is kind of what we expect out of him. You know,
Mhm.
like we pay you supermax money. We expect you to get this amount. This is exactly why Ant is in Wancho right now, because like we expected more of a Karl Anthony Towns type game from him tonight, production wise. So it's probably a C.
Yeah, I would definitely agree.
Okay. Yeah, I think C is fair tonight. Good game from him though. I mean, like he was making some crazy shots in the first quarter, especially. But as you mentioned, in the second, he only had 2 points. So like you got to have the consistent production. And of course, he was out for half of the second quarter. I'm just remembering that now, but still, yeah, should have put the Suns in a headlock. I mean, honestly, that was basically what we needed to do tonight. Weirdly enough, like we needed to play aggressive and get them all riled up so that we could take some of their players out of the game. But I mean, we just don't play like that, so it's crazy. What a game! What a game! That was. Let's pretend that game didn't happen, right?
back to my I'd still rather have Kyle than any of the free agents on the market.
Yeah.
The top rated free agent on the market currently is take
Jake
your
Layman.
pick. Take your pick. No, there's Kendrick Nunn. I don't know if he signed anywhere. Jalen Noel.
Oh no.
Nerlens Noel. Let's see.
That's an interesting question. Would you take Jalen Noel over Shake or Troy Brown at this moment in time?
No. No.
I don't know. I honestly don't know. I mean, there were so many things about him that were not good. But there was like more of a belief, I guess. I had more belief in him than I do Shake in him right now, but they're shaking Troy Brown. Although I have a little bit of faith in Troy Brown right now, so it's not the worst, but I don't know. Well, upcoming games. We get a couple of days off now. Let me take a look, pull up that schedule.
We have Saturday in New Orleans,
Perfect.
Monday versus the Knicks, Wednesday versus the Sixers, Friday next week versus the Kings. I believe that's our next 4.
That
Off
sounds
memory.
right. Yes. So I believe you're correct. Pelicans, Knicks, 76ers, Kings.
Yep.
And
then
3 of those are home games. So.
Yep. And the Kings is our 3rd
Yes.
in-season tournament game. And then the 4th is the 28th for the Thunder.
Yes. Yep. That is correct. That'll be fun. The in-season tournament, we got, so both of our in-season tournament games remaining in group play or whatever it's called are at home. So that should be good. Let's see. So we've got 5 of the next 7 games
at home.
Are home games. Yeah, that's good. That'll be good. Get some rest. We've had a little bit of a road trip. Not that it was that gruesome of a road trip, but still, get home, get right, and play a variety of teams. We've got a lot of different types of teams coming through. So Pelicans will be an interesting challenge on Saturday. I believe, let me see here. I got to look at my schedule. I don't know what Ashwin's schedule is. Saturday, it looks like I'm available. So we will be here. Yeah, because we are not 500 yet. Thank goodness. If we were 500, I hope we don't fall down to that.
You take them negative vibes and you put them right back out of the universe, sir.
Yeah, we do. We don't take that. But cool. Well,
I think containing Zion, if he plays, is going to be the key to Saturday. Obviously we have to score in mind, but the Knicks could be a trap game. We should beat them, but Jalen Brunson is Jalen Brunson.
Yeah, and they've had a run. They're 6-5, I think now. So they started not so great, and now I think they've won a couple games. So, yeah. I mean, these are all relatively tough games. None of them are the 76ers game could be really tough, I guess, because they're like a top team in the East. And
that rivalry is there with Cat and Embiid.
That is
they
true.
Literally hate each other. So,
yeah.
And yes, Begas is correct. Brunson has Mike Conley's number. He has for several years.
Has he really? I didn't even know that.
Conley has been, or he trends bad when having to play against Brunson. Yeah, Maxey's been going crazy.
Maxey has been going crazy. I saw that.
Julius Randle can have a good night any night. And what's that kid, Quentin Grimes on the Knicks?
Yep.
Good Lord, if he gets going from 3, it's trouble. So
I don't like the sounds of that, but
I have watched every Timberwolves game. I have caught at least 2 or 3 quarters of every Knicks game as well.
Really? Okay. Yeah, quickly too.
Yeah, quickly is always dangerous. IQ, I really wish there was a way that we could have made something happen for him with Jalen Noel, because
Yeah,
But
that would have been nice.
it would have been a fleece if we could have made it happen. So
Well,
this has been
we got some
fun.
toughies. Yeah, thanks for coming back on, Sabrina. Shout
Yeah.
out to you. Nice little short show, relatively short. I think we're actually going to keep it under an hour this time. We'll definitely have you back on if you're willing.
Of course.
We'd like to have all three of us maybe at some point. That would be kind of fun. And also, for those of you that are still sticking around, no giveaway tonight. Sorry. But there will be. I'm hoping to do a giveaway. Actually, I need to do a giveaway on Saturday because I have tickets to the Knicks game. So somehow, some way, whether it's through the stream or through Twitter or something else, we're going to have to do something. But before you guys all go, if you can, I'm going to spam a link in the chat again. It's going to take 12 years. And I guess I don't really need to spam it because there's not a ton of comments tonight. But feel free, go check out this video, like the video, watch it again. We're probably going to hit a pretty massive milestone tonight. We're going to hit what we need to get to the point where we can like be a YouTube partner, which I think will be really good for us going forward. You know, I just want to thank you guys because once we get to that point, you know, if we start making ad money or something like that, all that money goes into giveaways and stuff like that. So that'll be kind of fun to have, especially on good games. Today was not a great game, but yeah. Anyways, I think that is it for us. 52 wins is still possible. Very possible.
We're leaving on that note.
Yeah, 52 wins is we're gonna try to get some 52 wins merch going. We got some Bite merch going soon. We'll see. We got some things in the works, but it was great to see you, Sabrina. And we'll see all of you in the chat, in the Discord. Intro as the outro. We will see you
in the next one.
Saturday night. Yes. See you guys.